Sofreliner Tough is an addition-cured silicone chair-side soft lining material for dentures. Sofreliner Tough has no odor or taste. It is provided in an Automix cartridge delivery system, along with an adhesive primer and other accessories. The material cures in 5 minutes intraorally or 20 minutes at room temperature. Sofreliner Tough comes in both kit and refill forms. Sofreliner Tough can be used to reline all types of prosthetic appliances. It's especially useful in complete edentulous cases, especially in the mandibular, where retention can be compromised. For demonstration purposes, we've created 2 sets of dentures for the same edentulous patient. In the first set of dentures, we're going to take the lower denture and mark it with a red pen in order to demonstrate the area of the denture border that will be reduced in order to accommodate enough material for the Sofreliner. In the second case, we'll take an identical duplicated lower denture and guesstimate the amount of reduction required without the use of the red marking pen. Both require different finishing procedures. To achieve the maximum effect using Sofreliner Tough, the optimum thickness of lining material should be 1 to 2 millimeters. In this case, the marking pen is used to outline the amount of material required to be removed from the denture base in order to accommodate enough space for the Sofreliner Tough at the marginal area. Areas which will require lining thicker than 2 millimeters should first be lined with Tokuyama Rebase 2 chairside hard denture lining material to obtain the proper thickness for Sofreliner Tough. Material thickness of Sofreliner Tough will not affect its curing. Mark a red border line on the denture with the marking pen. You should avoid setting the marginal line on the denture border. Grind the tissue side of the denture with a burr to the proper depth. Bevel the borders of the denture to allow 1 millimeter of material to roll over the borders. In the case of using the red marking pen, we've reduced the denture border, relieved the inside of the denture base, as well as rounded the flanges in preparation for application of the Sofreliner Tough. In order to achieve a bond between the silicone Sofreliner Tough and the acrylic methylmethacrylate denture base requires the use of a primer. The primer is poured into a plastic cup. Apply a single coat of adhesive primer. Excess primer will decrease the bond strengths, and therefore only a single coat is needed. It's important not to miss any spots where the primer should be applied, since this may cause poor adhesion. It's ideal to allow the primer to air dry in a well-ventilated area for 20 to 30 seconds. The Sofreliner Tough paste cartridge has a cap that must be unscrewed. The cartridge is then placed into the dispensing gun and locked into position. A small amount is first expressed prior to placing the cartridge tip onto the cartridge. Then the paste is dispensed first onto the entire denture border. This is very important in order to provide a sufficient amount and thickness of the Sofreliner Tough in the denture border area. Once this is complete, The Sofreliner tough paste is then dispensed into the tissue-bearing surface of the denture, and the denture is then carried to the patient's mouth and delivered intraorally. The denture is seated intraorally, and the patient is then instructed to close into maximum intercuspation. The patient first swallows. The lips and cheeks are gently pulled to mold the borders, and then the patient is instructed to stick their tongue out, wiggle it left to right, touch the tongue to the roof of their mouth, and then close again into maximum intercuspation. It's important to note that the tongue should go through these exercises in order to avoid an overextension of border material, which would cause unseating of the denture during function. The denture is left in the mouth for 5 minutes and is then removed. Here we have the denture, and upon inspection, it appears that all the borders and the tissue-bearing surface have been accurately recorded. Here we're going to adjust the denture with the red borderline. When we do so, the first step is to remove the gross material using a lab-handled blade. Once the gross material has been trimmed with the blade, it is followed by final smoothing and polishing using the white and brown adjustment and finishing points. The white adjustment point is used in a slow-speed handpiece at approximately 15,000 RPM to remove any additional remaining gross Sofreliner tough material from the denture border. In addition, we're also using the burr to remove the red borderline that we had marked with our red pen. The Sofreliner tough is then finished using the brown point to polish the silicone material and achieve a smooth transition between the Sofreliner tough and the acrylic denture base. Here is the completed denture, ready for insertion and delivery. The denture is tried in the patient's mouth and evaluated for fit and stability. Here, the Sofreliner tough has increased the retention of the lower denture to the edentulous ridge. this case, we're reducing the denture border without the use of the red marking pen borderline. Here we're going to estimate the amount of reduction needed, which will be 1 to 2 millimeters on the denture border itself. The same procedure is followed. We're going to grind out a sufficient thickness of acrylic from the inside of the denture base. In this case, we have reduced the border, the inner surface of the denture, and rounded the flanges to provide sufficient room for the Sofreliner Tough. The primer is again applied to the denture base, just as we did in the previous case with the red borderline denture. The dispensing tip is placed onto the paste cartridge, and as in the first case, the same procedure is followed. Sofreliner Tough paste is first dispensed onto the denture border area to ensure an adequate thickness of material. Once this is complete, the remainder is expressed inside the tissue-bearing area of the denture. It's important to apply a sufficient amount of the material to avoid an insufficiency or an inadequacy in the amount or thickness of the reline. When dispensing the paste material in the tissue-bearing surface, make sure to keep the tip within the material to avoid any voids or bubbles. The denture is again seated intraorally. The patient is instructed to close into maximum intercuspation. The denture is held in place, and the patient is instructed to move their tongue forward, left, right, and to the roof of their mouth. In the case where we've reduced the border without the red pen, we're going to remove the gross Sofreliner Tough material using only a scalpel. By reducing the material, the scalpel blade will provide a high, polished finish to the Sofreliner Tough, as seen here. denture is tried in the patient's mouth and evaluated for fit and stability. Here, the Sofreliner Tough has increased the retention of the lower denture to the edentulous ridge. Sofreliner Tough is truly a remarkable material. It has revolutionized the dental world and created a simplified, long-lasting, durable chairside reline with an actual chemical bond to acrylic. Sofreliner Tough can also be used under laboratory conditions as a laboratory reline material.